So today we will working on a project. So it is basically a chatbot that will represent you to the outside world. It's like the future of resumes. Instead of having a resume on your website, you have a chatbot that knows about you, your career history, and your interests, and recruiter or managers can interact with that to ask questions about what you might be interested in. What is this going to do? We will start with the deployment architecture. We will be using AWS services here. Our project will begin with Lambda functions. So we'll write a Lambda function which will handle the business logic. So it's something which can basically respond to the request from the hiring managers about what you might be interested in working on or what your background experience. So that's our first component. Now we need to keep track of the conversations it is having with the users. When we are using LLMs, every call to an LLM is completely stateless. It has no knowledge what was said before. So if we want an LLM to be able to have a conversation where it keeps the context of the conversation, you need to supply the full conversation so far every time you call the LLM. And we are going to store that in S3. And in S3 bucket, we will have separate files for each of the different user conversations. Now our third component is API gateway. So we'll implement the API gateway to call the Lambda function from the outside world. Combining all these three components will make our backend. So API will help us to call Lambda functions from the backend world, and in order to allow the LLM to have a proper conversation, so we will store the whole conversation in the S3 memory. So till now we have talked about the backend. Now we will talk about the frontend. So we will build a Next.js app. We'll export the static website from Next.js app, which is a set of HTML, JavaScript, and CSS that is generated from the TypeScript, and we'll put that to the S3 bucket. Now we will have two S3 buckets, one for conversation tree and one for the frontend. Then we will deliver this frontend to the CloudFront. We will set up a CloudFront distribution that will consider our frontend as an asset that will be distributed around the world so that anyone can quickly access it from a data center that's near to them. So how the user will interact to our app? So it will be from the user's browser. User will enter the URL of our CloudFront distribution. When the user enters the web address of our CloudFront distribution in the browser, our whole website will get rendered into the user's browser. And when they enter anything into our website, it will make an API call to the backend, which will go through our API gateway. And that's how our frontend and backends connect together. And now the most important component of our application, which we have not considered yet, is like we have to use LLM. Without that, our application is incomplete. So in the business logic, which we will write in the Lambda function, we will make the calls to the LLMs. And in order to work with those LLMs, we will use Amazon's Bedrock service. So which is a service for wrapping the LLM calls. That's all for today. We'll start the setup and stuff from the next video.